Hello, I'm Paige Morahan, a photographer and an educator, and my mission is to bring the world closer together through words and photographs. The name of my business is Paige's Pages Around the World, which is a play on my name. I've been involved in art and photography from early childhood in Virginia. My mother had a cousin who was an art teacher, and we took lessons for many years. And my father was originally a sports photographer and then moved into editing newspapers. So really, in essence, both of my parents influenced my artistic career. And as an avocation in college, I was editor of the yearbook and did most of the darkroom work myself. And so that continued that interest. After college, my career has been in academic health centers. And in 2001, I had the unique opportunity to co-found an international leadership program to educate health professions faculty around the world in leadership and changing educational methods. And so this led to a whole other interest in multi-language cards and images around the world. 2001 was pivotal in another way. With a group of artists, we founded Orchard Artworks, a cooperative art gallery in a small town of Bernathen, Pennsylvania, and it lasted until the pandemic. I started creating multi-language cards to honor Famer Fellows around the globe, as well as an annual calendar that featured images from around the world, coupled with inspirational quotes. Again, my love of visuals and writing. Another important milestone for me was earlier in 1994, I took an Artist's Way workshop with Julia Cameron, and I've taken a couple with her, and then I taught several Artist's Way classes myself. This gave me permission to set up a studio in the middle of my living room and just leave it messy all the time. So I didn't have to clean up, so I always could go and do a little art. And that's where making cards was important, because I could do a card in a short amount of time. The pandemic was another pivotal point. It coincided with my move to partial retirement from Famer. And on the art front, an art friend challenged me to do 52 Weeks of Joy message. And so that led to a new form of calendar featuring a word, in this case it was joy, and messages of joy coupled with images from around the world. And that's led to other words. So we next had light around the world and then courage around the world. And the next year's calendar is going to be on resilience, messages of resilience around the world. I feel like we need more and more of that with our crazy world and the changes we're going through. And then digital photography came in, and so I moved to digital photography away from the other camera. And that led me into moving into Adobe Photoshop, and then later into Lightroom, which is the program I use the most now. I began taking workshops in photography and digital editing. These have primarily been with the Rocky Mountain School of Photography, with Longwood Gardens, which has marvelous classes, and also with the National Geographic Photo Expedition cruises. So I've taken numerous workshops, both in person and online, to hone my skills. So part of the process is to accept my limitations and enjoy nature as I can in capturing it. The refinements over the years have primarily been in the photo editing. I'm very intrigued with the new artificial intelligence masking approaches that have been added to Lightroom, and enables me to make flower portraits no matter what the background is. So I don't need to worry anymore. So that has freed me up. So nature and architectural details always provide inspiration for me. When I travel, I try to create a collection that gives a flavor of the area, whether it was Africa, Indonesia, or the upcoming trip to Costa Rica. So this includes both large vistas of the area and also focusing in on details. I love to make portraits of animals, portraits of flowers, so to capture just the beauty and the patterns in nature. Then there's the process of creating calendars, which is another enduring feature. I've done calendars for 15 years. So once we've selected the word of the year, the theme, which I have a contest to help determine, I will go through my Lightroom catalog and look for images that could fit with quotes about that word. And then I combine those images with the quotes. I use Lightroom for finalizing the image, and then I put it into PowerPoint, which I've used for my professional career for years and years, and then I add words using that. Besides calendars, enduring interest is the greeting cards, which I started because I could do them in small bits of time. And with my work in the international program, I have now an entire line of greeting cards that have many languages. I'm fortunate I've got all of these friends around the world who can translate for me, including languages that are unusual like Mongolian. And so I feature messages of happy birthday, congratulations, sympathy, with about 20 different languages from the top spoken languages in the world. My greeting cards, as well as some of my other art, features art that includes inspirational quotes. So that's some of the enduring features of my art. Specific techniques, currently focused on producing art that can be sold online. However, I do continue to make some cards, greeting cards, that are unique, one of a kind, because frankly, it's very relaxing for me to get into the tactile process of cropping photographs myself and deciding what color texture paper and what other papers to use as mats around them. So I'm always have on my desk or my studio a table. And finally, printing. With the online printing, I'm focusing primarily now on metal and canvas. I really like the look, the modern look of not needing a frame. I really like the look of the canvas and the metal. I'm always recharging my creative spirits and inspiration by going on artist dates, which I learned from Julia Cameron. And so these artist dates to art galleries, to museums, to art shows, and gardens. I have to admit that I'm very eclectic in my process, just seeing what jumps out at me that intrigues me. And I'm finding more and more it's art that is beautifully executed and also has a message. This came out pretty in several that I went to just recently that I noticed this about myself. I am playing with abstraction a little more, particularly with my cactus patterns that I've done, and I think I'll do more of that. Been intrigued by an artist friend of mine who does water images. So those are some of the new areas that I'm working in. Specific themes, flowers and gardens and nature is always at the top of my list. Every year I love spring, and I'll get out early in spring and start taking pictures of flowers as they emerge and buds on trees, and then take pictures all season long until I find them equally interesting, the pods of flowers at the end of the season. So I'm considering doing a series of pods. The kind of overall, I'd say I resonate with William Blake's quote that see the world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower. And I think that just captures my love of flowers. I'm committed to continuing to growing and evolving as a photographer. Some of the activities that I am committed to for this, of course, are artist dates, which really bring me a lot of inspiration. Also a daily practice of just seeing what the world has in front of me. I usually use this with my phone, just seeing, and maybe a flower that's the last flower of the season will intrigue me. Of course, taking workshops is another way, and I'm committed to doing that. And finally, I'm committed to traveling the world as long as I can. I'm adjusting how I'm doing it, but I'm still traveling, and primarily using photographic expeditions with National Geographic to hone my skills. It's always a fantastic opportunity to work with a National Geographic photographer. However, starting a business, particularly as an elder, is challenging. I'm fortunate I've been able to combine my art career with my academic career. I'm not sure whether I'd be where I am now if I didn't have that combination. I'm still struggling with finding my niche. So here's some of the issues. For instance, I'm committed to producing multi-language cards, and I think the world is ready for languages on cards that are more than French, German, and Spanish. However, the interest in the top languages, which are Mandarin and Arabic and Hindi and Urdu, are not really there yet. So we'll see where this goes. Another one is paper calendars. I'm committed to making them. I've done them for 20 years, and my friends like to receive them. However, I'm not sure that the next generation really wants paper calendars. I've asked several of the young people that I give them to, do they really want them anymore? And then when we get into paper greeting cards, how much interest is there in greeting cards? Most people now just use e-cards. So not sure where that's going. So the bottom line is that I'm still developing my niche and learning a lot in the process. Since the closure of Orchard Artworks right before the pandemic, I've moved to focusing on learning the online business, because that's one of the reasons at Orchard Artworks we could see the world moving to needing to embrace online, and we were not able to do that. So in addition to the online, I do have my art in 3 galleries in the local area. Very pleased that my multi-language cards are in the Pennsylvania Academy Fine Arts gift shop. Also with another cooperative gallery, the Mount Airy Art Garage in Philadelphia, and a local organic food store that has art on the wall, some of mine, and also my greeting cards. In addition to being in galleries, I'm certainly in several shows a year. I've been in, I think, 5 shows this year. I'm very pleased to have been accepted at the James Renwick Holiday Show down in Bethesda, Maryland. Chevy Chase, Maryland. And then in various local holiday shows. I'm always looking for interesting contests for shows. I've been very pleased to be accepted for 3 years to the Winter Group Show at the Exhibit B Gallery in Soudertown. I also have an honorable mention at the Phillips Mill Show. I've been accepted twice, honorable mention in the Julia Margaret Cameron Photo Show, honors women photographers. So I'm always trying those. It's nice to have a challenge for a particular topic to focus on. The shows and galleries are an important aspect of the business to learn what actually sells, what people want. Not clear all of that now, like one show recently, it was only tote bags and coasters that sold. However, the next show, I sold a lot of calendars. So it's hard to predict at this point. I do have interesting collaborations. I particularly enjoy doing one with a women's spiritual group website where there are excerpts from books, and sometimes they include my photographs with that. So that's been fun. Considering doing a book on messages of joy around the world with my photographs, and also exploring a collaboration with another minister friend of mine who is doing some interesting work and would like to have some visuals. So we'll see where these go. Here's an example of one of my animal portraits. I call this Zebra Motherly Love. and I took it in South Africa. I visited South Africa 3 times, all related to the program that I've been part of for the last 20 years that has enabled me to travel the world. The program is for the foundation of the advancement of international medical education and research. So over the 20 years, the mission has been to improve health professions education around the world. We have done this by sponsoring a global program and now 12 regional programs around the world. We have trained over 2,000 faculty from medical, dental, public health, and others, nursing and other schools. And part of my joy in developing multi-language cards has been getting to contact people for the translations of these various phrases. So I really have loved connecting with the world. It certainly added much depth to my knowledge of the world that I just had no idea how US-centric I was until I started working with the FAMR program. I've made calendars for over 20 years that feature photographs that I've taken with inspirational quotes. What we've evolved to with the pandemic is to pick a theme word, which people help me select from around the world. Then my friends translate it into all these different languages. And then the inside of the calendar has images like this one from Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe with a quote about courage. Another project is multi-language. I'm committed to creating cards and art that feature the 20 top languages of the world. This is a card that I did down in Brazil. With my cane, I created happy birthday and then here are all the different languages for happy birthday. That is congratulations. This uses a statue that I saw in Tresco Island Gardens in the Isles of Scilly in England. And I like to put the words as much as I can for congratulations, like around the art, to incorporate them in the art. Here's one that is fun. In this case, they're primarily languages are used as a map for the picture. And finally, we have a full line. So here is sorry you're ill. Here I'm able to put the languages along the stems of the flower. I also have the multi-language cards, multi-languages, available as totes. This features a wild poinsettia from Brazil for happy holidays. And mantra, my joy is one of my mantras, and so here is joy from around the world. Here's an example of a flower portrait put on a tote bag. Of course, it's also available as wall art. Been able to achieve this by honing my Lightroom skills to create backgrounds that are dark, so it doesn't matter what's behind the flower. This is an example as a coaster, bird of paradise. Here is an example of, I think, a very intriguing spider hibiscus, and one of my favorites, the Gloriosa lily, which is the national flower of Zimbabwe. Another example of, I really like to do things on metal, and here is an example of a butterfly and flower. Another type of art I like to do is photo collages. This one is a happy birthday card that I made out of whelk egg cases. I scoured the beach one day at Sanibel Island and just took pictures of egg cases that look like these letters. Then I've also done ones using elements of wrought iron, and here is love. And I'm in the process of working on some using my flower portraits that would make up the letters of happy birthday. So let's see what comes out with that. Hello, I've got 3 points that I would like to recommend to aspiring artists. First was that decision of mine back in the 1990s to have a messy studio table in the middle of my living room. That's now evolved into a lovely space where I am most of the time. It's a combined office and studio. So having a dedicated space where you can always go to do small things in the little bits of time we have, I think is important. A second one, which is a tip that I give to all my faculty members that I've counseled over the years, is whenever you can, have one activity serve at least two purposes. For me, this occurs in a number of ways. One was my initial starting out, kind of combining photography with my lectures that I gave to medical students. Another is nowadays, I like portraits and I like the square format. However, this is also good because it's the same format I need for coasters and tote bags and pillows. So again, it serves several, once I make the image, I can do several things with it. And multi-language cards, I started doing those to honor our fellows around the world, to show that I was interested in their languages. And the calendars started out, but for FAMR, this Foundation for Advancement in International Research Medical Education, was to bring together and honor all the faculty around the world who worked on our regional institutes. So again, that combined my image of my love of photography, my love of inspirational quotes, with my academic career working with nonprofit organizations. And finally, I've learned to embrace equally both the art of photography and the business of photography. And this again is a message that we give in our leadership program, that a surgeon has to embrace both the aspects of being very good in surgery and the business aspects of knowing how to function in a medical school or a surgical setting. So it's always the combination, and I've certainly learned an awful lot in my last few years of starting this art business, and I hope to continue to learn. It's one of the ways that I do this is daily mini artist dates, just walking and seeing what intrigues me, and then making a short video, which I post on Instagram or Facebook. So that's another way to combine my art and the marketing aspects. Thank you for watching. My name is Paige Morahan. That's Paige like a page in a book, which goes to my website, www.pagesgallery.com. And my Instagram handle is pages_around the world. My Facebook handle is Pages Around the World. And if you want to know more about FAMR, the Foundation for Advancement in International Medical Education and Research, go to www.famer, that's spelled FAIMER.org/global. So again, that's www.famer.org/global.